The emergency alert system at the National Security Council had never been activated at 4:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, but Attorney General Pam Bondi's urgent request for an immediate classified briefing with the President's most senior advisors had triggered the highest priority protocols in the American national security apparatus. The White House Situation Room was buzzing with activity as intelligence analysts, military commanders, and cabinet officials scrambled to understand why the nation's top law enforcement official had declared a red flag alert for threats emanating from inside the United States itself. President Trump entered the secure conference room at precisely 5:15 a.m., followed by Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, CIA Director William Burns, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. The assembled officials represented the most senior levels of American government, each carrying decades of experience in managing national security crises, but none had anticipated the intelligence briefing they were about to receive from Attorney General Bondi. "Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen," Bondi began, her voice carrying the weight of intelligence that had fundamentally altered her understanding of threats to American national security, "I have called this emergency briefing because we have discovered evidence of a new Iranian threat that operates entirely from within the United States and represents the most sophisticated and dangerous foreign operation ever identified on American soil." She activated the Situation Room's advanced display systems, revealing intelligence analysis that painted a terrifying picture of Iranian capabilities that went far beyond anything previously discovered by American intelligence agencies. The main screen showed a complex network diagram connecting dozens of Iranian operatives, support networks, and infrastructure targets across the continental United States. What makes this threat unprecedented is not just its scope, but its operational sophistication, Bondi continued, pointing to specific elements of the network analysis. "We have identified what intelligence analysts are calling a second-generation Iranian operation that has been specifically designed to exploit vulnerabilities in our previous counterintelligence discoveries." President Trump leaned forward, studying the intelligence displays with growing concern. "Pam, are you telling me that Iran has additional operatives beyond the sleeper cells we've already identified?" "Mr. President, what we've discovered is far more complex than additional operatives. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has been running parallel operations within the United States for over a decade, using completely different methodologies, recruitment strategies, and target profiles than their traditional sleeper cell networks." She clicked to the next section of the briefing, revealing detailed analysis of Iranian recruitment and training operations that had been conducted entirely within American borders. Unlike their traditional approach of inserting trained operatives from Iran, this new network has been recruiting American citizens and legal residents to serve Iranian intelligence interests. The implications sent a chill through the room. CIA Director Burns had spent his career analyzing foreign intelligence operations, but had never encountered evidence of such extensive recruitment activities within the United States. "Madam Attorney General, are you describing an Iranian spy network that consists primarily of American citizens?" "Director Burns, that's exactly what we're dealing with. Iranian intelligence services have been systematically identifying and recruiting Americans who have access to critical infrastructure, government facilities, military installations, and sensitive information systems. These recruited assets have been operating under the direction of Iranian intelligence handlers while maintaining their normal American lives and careers." She moved to a classified section of the briefing that revealed the true scope of Iranian recruitment operations. "Our investigation has identified over 200 American citizens and legal residents who have been recruited by Iranian intelligence services over the past 15 years. These individuals work in power plants, water treatment facilities, telecommunications companies, defense contractors, government agencies, and military installations across the country." Secretary of Defense Austin studied the intelligence reports with growing alarm. "Madam Attorney General, what kind of access do these recruited assets have to sensitive military information and facilities?" Secretary Austin, "We have identified Iranian assets with security clearances working at the Pentagon, NORAD, Strategic Command, and multiple major military installations. Some of these individuals have been passing classified information to Iranian intelligence services for years while simultaneously positioning themselves to conduct sabotage operations if activated. The possibility that Iranian intelligence had successfully recruited American military personnel and defense contractors represented a nightmare scenario for national security planners. The potential for coordinated attacks from within America's most sensitive military facilities could compromise the nation's ability to defend itself against external threats. National Security Advisor O'Brien had been reviewing classified personnel files on his secure tablet. Pam, how did Iranian intelligence services manage to recruit so many Americans without triggering our security protocols? These individuals would have undergone extensive background investigations for their security clearances. Advisor O'Brien, the Iranian recruitment strategy has been incredibly sophisticated and patient. Rather than approaching individuals who already had security clearances, they identified promising candidates early in their careers and provided financial support, career guidance, and personal relationships that helped these individuals obtain positions with access to sensitive information and critical systems. She displayed specific case studies that demonstrated the Iranian approach to long-term recruitment and development of American assets. For example, we've identified Hassan Rezaieh, an Iranian-American graduate student who was recruited by Iranian intelligence services in 2010 while completing his doctoral degree in electrical engineering at MIT. Iranian handlers provided financial support for his education, helped him obtain internships at major defense contractors, and guided his career development over 15 years. The profile showed a successful American engineer who had worked for 3 major defense contractors, obtained high-level security clearances, and had access to classified information about American missile defense systems and military communication networks. Rezaieh appears to be a highly successful American professional with an exemplary record of service to defense contractors and the military. But our investigation has revealed that he has been systematically passing classified information to Iranian intelligence services and has been positioned to conduct sabotage operations against critical military systems. Secretary of State Blinken had been analyzing the diplomatic implications of the Iranian operation. Madam Attorney General, what's our assessment of Iranian government involvement in these recruitment operations? Are we looking at official Iranian intelligence activities or rogue operations? Secretary Blinken, we have clear evidence that these recruitment operations are being directed by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force, which reports directly to Iran's supreme leader. This is not a rogue operation. It's an official Iranian government program designed to compromise American national security from within. She activated another section of the briefing showing intercepted communications between Iranian intelligence services and their American assets. We have communications intercepts that show Iranian handlers providing specific instructions to their recruited assets about gathering intelligence on American military capabilities, mapping vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure, and preparing for potential sabotage operations. The evidence of direct Iranian government involvement in recruiting American citizens to conduct espionage and sabotage activities represented an act of war that demanded immediate response from the highest levels of American government. Chief of Staff Meadows had been studying the timeline of Iranian recruitment activities. Madam Attorney General, you mentioned that this recruitment program has been active for 15 years. Why are we only discovering it now? Chief of Staff Meadows, the Iranian operation has been designed specifically to avoid detection by traditional counterintelligence methods. The recruited assets maintain normal American lives, follow standard security protocols, and appear to be loyal American citizens and employees. It's only through advanced data analysis and communications intercepts that we've been able to identify patterns that revealed the scope of Iranian recruitment activities. She moved to a section of the briefing that showed the advanced analytical methods used to uncover the Iranian network. Our breakthrough came from analyzing financial transactions, communication patterns, and career progression data for individuals with access to sensitive information. When we applied artificial intelligence analysis to these data sets, we discovered recruitment patterns that revealed the Iranian network. President Trump had been listening intently to the briefing, his expression growing more serious with each revelation. Pam, what's our immediate response plan? How do we deal with over 200 American citizens who may be working for Iranian intelligence? Mr. President, I'm implementing Operation Red Flag, the most comprehensive counterintelligence operation in American history. We will simultaneously investigate and, where appropriate, arrest all identified Iranian assets, while securing the sensitive information and facilities they may have compromised. The operation would require unprecedented coordination between federal agencies, military commands, and intelligence services. Phase 1 involves immediate surveillance and security assessment of all identified assets. Phase 2 implements enhanced security protocols for all facilities and information systems that may have been compromised. Phase 3 executes arrests and prosecutions under the Espionage Act and other relevant statutes. CIA Director Burns studied the operational timeline with growing concern. Madam Attorney General, an operation targeting over 200 individuals across multiple states and military installations will be extraordinarily complex. Are we confident we can maintain operational security while conducting such extensive investigations? Director Burns, we have no choice but to move quickly and decisively. Our intelligence indicates that Iranian intelligence services may be preparing to activate their recruited assets for coordinated operations against American targets. She revealed the most alarming intelligence that had prompted the emergency briefing. We have intercepted communications suggesting that Iranian intelligence services are planning to activate their American assets within the next 72 hours. The recruited individuals may receive instructions to conduct coordinated attacks on military installations, critical infrastructure, and government facilities. The possibility that Iranian recruited American citizens could execute attacks on American military bases and government facilities from within added an entirely new dimension to the threat assessment. The potential for coordinated attacks by individuals with legitimate access to sensitive facilities could cause catastrophic damage to American national security. Secretary of Defense Austin immediately began coordination with military commanders to assess security at all installations where Iranian assets had been identified. Madam Attorney General, I'm implementing immediate security enhancements at all military facilities where we've identified potential Iranian assets. We cannot allow foreign intelligence services to use recruited Americans to attack our military installations. The briefing continued for another 2 hours as officials refined operational details and coordination protocols. Each cabinet member received specific assignments for their role in Operation Red Flag, understanding that they were participating in what could be the most critical counterintelligence operation in American history. As the meeting concluded, President Trump addressed the assembled officials with the gravity of a wartime commander. Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney General Bondi has just revealed a threat that strikes at the heart of American national security. Iranian intelligence services have been recruiting American citizens to conduct espionage and sabotage activities against their own country. He looked around the room at each senior official. This represents a fundamental attack on American sovereignty and the loyalty of American citizens. We will respond with overwhelming force and absolute determination to root out every Iranian asset and protect our national security. The President's words carried the weight of a declaration of war against Iranian intelligence operations within the United States. The revelation that Iran had successfully recruited hundreds of American citizens to serve foreign intelligence interests had shocked even the most experienced national security professionals. As the officials dispersed to begin implementing Operation Red Flag, Attorney General Pam Bondi remained behind to coordinate final preparations with intelligence and military leaders. The discovery of Iranian recruitment operations within the United States had revealed a threat that went beyond traditional foreign espionage. It represented a systematic assault on American loyalty and national identity. The Iranian regime had attempted to turn Americans against their own country, recruiting citizens to betray the nation that had given them opportunities and freedom. But they had underestimated American resolve and the capability of American intelligence services to uncover and defeat foreign threats. Standing in the Situation Room, surrounded by intelligence reports and operational plans, Bondi reflected on the magnitude of what they had discovered. The Iranian threat was not just external operatives infiltrating American society. It was the systematic corruption of American citizens by foreign intelligence services. But the Iranian regime had made a critical miscalculation. They had underestimated the strength of American institutions, the loyalty of the vast majority of American citizens, and the determination of American leaders to protect the homeland against all threats, foreign and domestic. The red flag had been raised, and American national security forces were mobilizing to defend the nation against this unprecedented threat. The Iranian intelligence services had revealed their hand, and now they would face the full weight of American justice and American power. Operation Red Flag would demonstrate that America would never tolerate foreign interference in its internal affairs or attempts to recruit American citizens to betray their own country. The battle for American loyalty and national security was about to begin, and Attorney General Pam Bondi was determined to win it decisively. Within hours of the White House briefing, Bondi had established a joint task force that brought together the FBI's Counterintelligence Division, the CIA's Domestic Operations Section, military intelligence units, and the Department of Homeland Security's Intelligence and Analysis Office. The Federal Bureau of Investigation's Washington Field Office had been transformed into the command center for the most extensive counterintelligence investigation in American history. The first major breakthrough came from the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit, which had been analyzing banking records and financial transactions for the identified Iranian assets. Special Agent Jennifer Walsh had discovered a sophisticated financial network that revealed the true scope of Iranian investment in recruiting American citizens. Madam Attorney General, Agent Walsh reported during the initial operational briefing, we've identified over $50 million in financial payments from Iranian intelligence services to their recruited American assets over the past decade. This isn't just traditional espionage. It's a comprehensive program to systematically compromise American national security. Bondi studied the financial analysis with growing alarm. Agent Walsh, are you telling me that Iranian intelligence services have invested $50 million in recruiting Americans to conduct espionage and sabotage activities? Yes, ma'am, and that's just what we've identified so far. The payments have been structured to avoid detection by traditional financial monitoring systems, using multiple intermediaries, shell companies, and cryptocurrency transactions to obscure the Iranian government's involvement. The scale of Iranian financial investment in compromising American citizens revealed the strategic importance that Iran placed on this operation. This was not a limited intelligence-gathering effort. It was a comprehensive assault on American national security that had been planned and funded at the highest levels of the Iranian government. Meanwhile, the CIA's Counterintelligence Center had been analyzing the recruitment methods used by Iranian intelligence services to identify and develop American assets. Director of Analysis Dr. Sarah Martinez had uncovered patterns that revealed the sophisticated psychological and social manipulation techniques employed by Iranian handlers. Madam Attorney General, Dr. Martinez reported via secure video conference, Iranian intelligence services have been using what we call affinity-based recruitment to identify Americans who might be susceptible to foreign influence. They target individuals with Iranian heritage, financial difficulties, career frustrations, or ideological sympathies that could be exploited. She displayed psychological profiles of recruited American assets that showed common vulnerability patterns. The Iranian handlers are expert manipulators who establish personal relationships with their targets over months or years before revealing their true intentions. By the time recruitment is complete, many assets feel emotionally committed to their Iranian handlers and may not fully understand the implications of their actions. The revelation that Iranian intelligence services were using sophisticated psychological manipulation techniques to recruit American citizens added another layer of complexity to the threat assessment. These were not voluntary traitors seeking to betray their country. They were often vulnerable individuals who had been systematically manipulated by expert foreign intelligence operatives. Special Agent Michael Rodriguez from the FBI's Washington Field Office had been conducting surveillance on David Chen, a software engineer who worked for a major defense contractor and had been identified as a potential Iranian asset. What Rodriguez discovered would expand their understanding of how deeply Iranian intelligence had penetrated American defense systems. Madam Attorney General, Rodriguez reported during the evening briefing, Chen has been systematically accessing classified information about American missile defense systems and passing detailed technical specifications to Iranian intelligence services. We estimate that he may have compromised information worth billions of dollars in defense research and development. The possibility that Iranian intelligence services had obtained detailed information about American military capabilities through their recruited assets represented a catastrophic security breach that could take years to fully assess and address. Dr. Lisa Thompson from the Department of Defense's Office of Security Review had been analyzing the potential impact of Iranian access to classified military information. Madam Attorney General, if Iranian intelligence services have been receiving detailed information about American defense systems for years, they may have developed countermeasures that could compromise our military effectiveness in a potential conflict. The strategic implications were staggering. Iranian intelligence services may have used their recruited American assets to obtain information that could fundamentally alter the military balance between the United States and Iran, potentially compromising American military advantages that had been developed over decades of research and investment. As intelligence continued to flow in from field offices and analysis centers across the country, the true scope of the Iranian threat became clearer. This was not just espionage or sabotage, it was a comprehensive assault on American national security that had been executed with patience, sophistication, and enormous financial resources over more than a decade. The Iranian regime had attempted to systematically compromise American loyalty, steal American secrets, and position recruited assets to conduct attacks on American facilities from within. But they had underestimated American intelligence capabilities and the determination of American leaders to protect the homeland against all threats. Standing in the FBI command center, surrounded by intelligence analysts and federal agents working around the clock to uncover the full extent of Iranian penetration, Attorney General Pam Bondi knew that the next phase of Operation Red Flag would determine whether America could successfully defend itself against this unprecedented threat to national security. The red flag alert had been raised, and American counterintelligence forces were mobilizing to root out every Iranian asset and secure every compromised facility. The battle for American national security was entering its most critical phase, and the outcome would determine whether foreign intelligence services could successfully recruit American citizens to betray their own country. Attorney General Pam Bondi was determined to prove that America would never tolerate such betrayal and would defend its national security with overwhelming force and absolute resolve.